Once, long ago, in the kingdom of Gwynedd, at the edge of Lake Bala was a house. This was the home of Tegid Voel and his wife Ceridwen, and their two children, Craiori and Morvran. Where Craiori was the daughter, she was radiant and beautiful and full of joy. Morvran was quiet, withdrawn, and clung to the shadow. Some say it's because, unlike Craiori, he was born ugly and twisted in features. Ceridwen was happy that both children got on, and both children argued and fought as siblings often do. But she also thought to herself that if Morvran couldn't be handsome, then he shall be wise. And so she spent her time creating a potion in her mind, a potion that would make Morvran intelligent and also make him inspired and also make him full of wisdom. This took time. This took weeks, months, as she cut the right herbs, she gathered the right plants, and she also dug up the right roots and hunted the right animals and caught the right fish. She put them all together as ingredients for a great potion in the biggest cauldron that she had. The spell was so complex and so powerful, it would need to be stirred for a year and a day. Lucky for her, she had servants to do the job. She called upon two of them, an old blind man called Morda and a young boy called Gwiambach, and she asked them to do exactly as she said, which was to watch this cauldron, to keep it bubbling, to keep the fire going, and to stir it regularly. And with one condition: to never, ever drink of the potion. The potion had only 3 drops of inspiration. Once these were drank, and they were intended for her son, Morvran, the rest of the potion would become a vile poison. Both the old man and the young boy agreed. It seemed a simple enough job. And so they spent the rest of the time tending to the fire, stirring the cauldron, and making sure that everything was right and everything was left exactly as it should be. To help pass the time, Gwiambach played games, asked questions, and Morda was more than happy to join in with the games and also to answer all the questions, as well as tell stories of when he was young as well. Until the day came, and Morda, testing the heat with his hands, instructed Gwiambach to put another log on the fire. Gwiambach did as he was told. He put one more log into the fire, he climbed up to the cauldron, he stirred the spoon, exactly as he did every single day. But the potion bubbled that furiously that 3 drops came flying out and hit his thumb. And well, Gwiambach did exactly what anybody else would do. He took the thumb to his mouth, instantly, without even thinking about it. And in so doing, he tasted of the inspiration and the great intelligence from that cauldron. He knew he shouldn't have done it, but he couldn't help himself. And also, because of the magic of the cauldron, he was gifted with great insight and great foresight. He knew he was in trouble, and he also could see something terrible was about to happen. He told Morda to get out of the way as fast as he could, which the old man did. And then Gwiambach ran, and as he ran, the cauldron split with a huge crack. The potion issued forth out of the hut and down the grass and into a local river. At this river were 3 horses. These horses were the property of King Gwydno, and as they drank the water, as the potion came into it, they dropped dead, poisoned by the vitriol that was in that potion. Ceridwen came into the hut after hearing that crack, and she looked around. She saw the cauldron. She saw Morda asking for forgiveness and begging for mercy. Ceridwen found the biggest stick that she could find, and she beat him black, she beat him blue, she beat him till he was broken, and until he breathed no more. And she went out of that hut. She couldn't see where Gwiambach went, and so, using her magic, because some say that she was a witch, some say she was a goddess, either way, she turned herself into a greyhound. She picked up the scent of the young boy and chased straight after him. Gwiambach, while running, was heading towards the lake. He thought if he could get there, he could be safe. And he saw a vision in his own mind of what happened to Morda and what Ceridwen had intended for him. He ran further until he could hear a dog behind him, and so, using magic of his own, because of the potion, he turned into a hare and darted as fast as he could. He got to the lake's edge and leapt, and as he leapt, he turned into a salmon and jumped into the waters and carried on going as fast as he could. Ceridwen, she leaped into the water as well, but turned herself into an otter and pursued the salmon as fast as she could possibly go as well, until the claws of the otter were almost upon the great salmon. The otter took the claws and almost grabbed the salmon, and then Gwion leapt out of the water and turned himself into a bird. Fins became wings, and he darted up into the sky, as high as he could go. Ceridwen leapt out of the water also, and turned into a bird of prey, a hawk of some kind, with great wings and sharp talons, and soared straight after the small bird. They flew for miles. Gwion looked around. The only place he could go was down, and so he turned himself into a small seed of grain and dropped all the way down to the ground. Ceridwen, in hawk form, let out a piercing cry of victory, and she dove down to the earth, down to the ground, landed, and turned into a hen. She saw the seed, and in one snap, took it into her mouth, and swallowed it whole. Flying back in hawk form all the way back to the house, she landed again, and turned herself back into her human form. But something was wrong. Something wasn't quite right. There was a familiar feeling within inside her, and she prayed that she was wrong. A few days later, it was confirmed. She was with child again. For 9 long months, she carried that seed. She carried that baby within her until on the day it arrived. And every single day that she carried that child, she planned ways of killing it. It wasn't until she was holding the young baby in her hands that she knew, actually, she couldn't do the deed. And so that what she would do is let fate do the work. She looked around and found a crane bag. She placed the young baby into the bag of leather, tied it up, took it down to the lake, and led the bag upon its way. And the bag went upon the tides, down into the river, until eventually it ended up getting caught in the net of a young man who was fishing at the salmon weir. This young man was Elfyn ap Gwddno, Elfyn, son of the king. Elfyn wasn't the most luckiest of men. He wasn't good at sport, he wasn't good at fighting, he wasn't really particularly good at anything. Even when trying to have children with his wife, that didn't work either. And so his father had sent him down to the salmon weir to feed everybody else. And surprise, surprise, he wasn't having much luck. At least not the kind of luck that he wanted anyway. He felt the net had grabbed onto something. And with great excitement, he pulled and pulled and pulled until the net was brought onto the land. It wasn't salmon. He was a little bit disappointed by that, but at the same time his curiosity was piqued. There was something in the net. He opened it, and he found a bag of crane skin, all tied up, and something was moving in the bag. He took his knife, he opened the cords, and there was a young baby boy with golden curly hair. He took the baby out of the bag and held it, and he smiled. Oh, look at you! You're still alive! Oh, what great luck you are! And as he made eye contact with the young boy, he heard a voice in his head, and a poem not of his own making. And the poem said, I am Taliesin, and the inspiration of my song is discovered in the depths. I know where the wave flows into the cup, where the dawn has its end, where the river disappears, and where the sky meets the earth. I know why sadness is better than joy, why the harp-string laments, why the cuckoo is sad, and why the crow is wax-coloured. I know why a hill echoes, why milk is white and holly green, why the alder is purple, why the sun is red. I know a name of 2 words which rest in the cauldron. I know all the craft of Gawain. And Elvin was there, looking at this young boy who would take as his own son, and say, "Ah, Taliesin, is it? Well then, Taliesin it is. I'll take you home, Golden Brow." He placed the young boy back into the bag, took the bag into his arms, and made his way home. Taliesin was said to be the greatest bard and the greatest poet in all of Wales and Great Britain. But that's a story for another time.